Number 25 over here in Bet Shemesh, the city of Bet Shemesh, one of the main shopping malls over here, decorated by balloons and so on and so forth over here. Just grabbing coffee to share over some words within regards to the page. Actually, some notes we're going to concentrate on in today's page, which we don't usually do. Instead of grabbing one idea, we're going to try and grab 5 or 6 ideas within regards to feel, let's say, like that zest of this page of the Gemara in of itself. Masechet Menachot, page number 25, and yeah, very, very interesting. I've got a nice chair over here, so I've really said a blessing for the coffee I am having at the moment, and yeah, we will share over some information, friends, together. If you haven't watched over all the previous videos here on Daf Yomi, we have done this already, the 24th installment. That's something I very much have to point out. So anyone, the first time you're here, welcome to our community, as we will share over some notes, and very, very exciting in of itself what we're actually going to speak about in today's page inside the Gemara, because I thought we'll take, why give one idea when we can give several ideas also. So the first note I want to share over inside the page, which actually says there's a terminology that's used in Amud Aleph in page number 25. Nitmaha kometz v'hikrivot. Now, anyone's been following, we've learned what a kometz is all throughout over here. If the hand became ritually impure, and despite this, the priest sacrificed it, etc. This is actually from Rav Adin Stein's house. So what's it bring about over here? So if the handful became ritually impure, and nevertheless the priest will sacrifice this, the front plate affects acceptance of the meal offering. If the handful went out of its designated area, and the priest then returned it and sacrificed it, the front place does not affect acceptance of it. So we're learning all about yesterday with regards to airspace, for example. Does that bring about impurity or not? One of the things that we learned about yesterday is that it could make the receptacle and the air place and the impurity, which will come. The receptacle is something made of earthenware, which will seemingly be different laws also to metal and vice versa. And we'll brought a beautiful idea with kashrut also within regards to that. Okay, so there's another nice insight, which is actually given over on pigul. Avon pigul over here. If you say he atones for the sin of pigul, you have this idea. Although the great rabbis, they use a term called pigul to refer to the intention to sacrifice or eat an offering after the permitted time, in which we talk about the parameters of time, when you can eat an offering, when not. In this specific context, the term intention to sacrifice or eat the offering out of a designated location, corresponding to the authoritative interpretation of Hegel inside the Torah. So there's differences. Something can become invalid if you're eating something else, let's just say, or between a specific time, but it could also be place designated. If you're doing it in the wrong place or the right place, I'd say right place, right time. So both of those variables in of itself over there. It also gives over, there's I think when the bride actually states that notar is not accepted, and so what is notar over here? The term notar does not refer to sacrificial meat that was left after the time that one was permitted to eat it, since the offering was already, let's say, at that point in time, except at that time of the sprinkling of the blood. Rather, it's going to refer to what is usually known as hikul, as that we've spoken about, meaning that let's say, at the time of the sacrificial rite, the priest intended to sacrifice or eat offering after the permitted time. We'll actually see this. We'll see this in page number 29 in Masechet Zvachim, as we saw about 4 months. Everyone to look back on Zvachim, page number 29 over there. And now another nice idea inside Aleph once again. Im Toma Avon Pigul. If you say he atones for the sin of Pigul, etc. So what's going on? Although the great sages, they use the term Pigul, as we said before, to refer to the intention to sacrifice or eat the offering after the permitted time, in this context, it's going to refer to the sacrifice or eat offering outside of its designated location, corresponding to the authoritative interpretation of Hegel inside the Bible. That's what's said over there. So that's what we learned about that. And now another use over here. So, Ein tamut v'zachrut ba'ofot. What's going on over here, friends? There is no requirement that an offering must be unblemished and male with regards to birds. So we're learning about the science with regards to birds and sacrifice in of itself. Now, it's not necessary for a bird offering to be male. It can be female also. It's not gender related. Female birds may be used for any bird offering. That's what we're learning about here in today's page. Likewise, there is no requirement for a bird offering to be unblemished, unlike other animals. This applies only to minor blemishes, though, I have to point out. But if, let's say, the bird's wing dried out or was missing an eye or a leg, it will be disqualified there from being used as an offering. So very interesting thing. So a minor blemish, seemingly, if you want to use that as a korban for a bird in of itself, if it's something minor, seemingly it's okay. But if they're missing a significant, like let's say limb or something very, very significant, that's going to be problematic. And I think the Rambam brings this from the Sefer Avodah in Hilchot Isrei Mizbeach, if I'm not mistaken, over there. So that's another point for resource over here. So anyone tuning in live, we're exploring a few of the highlights with regards to the page of the Daf Yomi, some tidbits over here. We don't usually do it like this specific structure in itself, but I thought here in the special edition, just by the mall at the moment, to grab attention and give over various other ideas. Another idea from the Talmud says, Dam shnit me'ah, blood that became impure. According to the famous Rambam, the blood of consecrated animals is not susceptible to ritual impurity. This ruling does not accord with the Braita cited over here, as we see inside this page, as well as other sources, but it's consistent with the ruling of a Rabbi Yosef ben Yoetze of Tsereda. I think we have to look very much in the Masechet Ediut with regards to that in number 4 over there. And there's a statement of Rav Papa in Tractate Pesachim, which you learn about in Daf 17 in Amud Bet over there. It says over here, according to Rashi, the great commentator, Rav Papa retracted his statement, and the blood of consecrated animals is susceptible to ritual impurity, as once again from Rambam's Sefer Avodah, Hilchot P'slei HaMakdashin, is actually going to relate over. Friends, anyone tuning in live at the moment, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and join our community over here, as we're exploring a few pieces of Talmud over here on this special edition over here in Israel by a shopping mall in the city of Bet Shemesh. Okay, another idea. And that's it all over. B'shogeg hulza b'mezid lo hulza. So it says over here, if it was unwittingly sprinkled, the offering is accepted. But if it was intentionally sprinkled, it is not going to be accepted over there. So if you're going to sprinkle it, how do you do it? What's the intentions with regards to it? That's a significant factor over here. If it was discovered before the blood was sprinkled that the meat of the Korban Pesach, the Paschal's offering, had become ritually impure, even though the portions that are consumed on the altar remain pure, its blood should not be sprinkled on the altar. If the blood is sprinkled, it is not valid even after the fact. If the impurity was not discovered until the blood was sprinkled, the offering is accepted because the front plate affects acceptance in cases where the blood is unwittingly sprinkled while the meat is impure, but not in cases where the blood is intentionally sprinkled while the meat is impure. This is in accordance with the opinion of Ravina, since he is a later Amorah, and this ruling is in accordance with the inference of the Mishnah in Tractate Pesachim, page number 80. It is also accords with the wording of the Braita, although the Rambam rules that the front plate does not affect acceptance for the ritual impurity of the portions of the offerings that are eaten. This is not the halacha with regards to the Pesach sacrifice, the Korban Pesach, as we say over. Obviously, the primary purpose of this is to be eaten, as we very much learn about in the Sefer Korbanot of the Rambam over here, and also in Chot Korban Pesach, which I recommend everyone to learn about in chapter number 4. I think also the Mahari Krukos over there, where we have to see the Sefer Avodah, will also bring that about. So another nice, interesting. We'll go through 3 more short tidbits with regards to this page of the Daf Yomi over here. I think it's important to do so. There's a terminology, im taram b'shogeg. If he separated the truma, what's going on over here? It is prohibited to separate truma from ritually impure produce to render pure produce permitted. If one did so unwittingly, his truma is considered truma. If he acted intentionally, the produce remains untithed and he must separate the truma again. The impure produce he set aside as truma is also truma. This halacha is in accordance with the Mishnah in Tractate Trumot in chapter number two. And there's an explanation, I think, of Rav Natan over here, son of Rav Oshaya, on Yevamot in page number 89 in the Rambam. I think we have to look at the Rambam in Sefer Zeraim in the Hilchot Truma, also within regards to that, friends. Okay. Another interesting tidbit. Ein hatzitz meratze al achilot. What's this going on over here? The front plate does not affect acceptance for impurity or portions of offerings that are to be eaten. So what's this of course about? Now the front plate over here affects acceptance for the ritual impurity of several components of the offerings in the Bet HaMikdash, including the fat, the portions of the altar that are consumed on the altar, and the sacrificial limbs of the burnt offering. It does not affect acceptance for the ritual impurity of the portions of offerings that are consumed by the priests. Obviously, this is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yosef, because there is no other Tana who agrees with Rabbi Eliezer that the front plate affects acceptance for the impurity of the portions of the offerings that are consumed by the priests. Once again, I recommend everyone to, or Rav Steinsaltz recommends, to look at the Rambam Sefer Avodah in Hilchot Beit HaMikdash over in chapter number 4, and Hilchot Psulei HaMakdishin over there also. Now we're going to go through one last tidbit, let's say note over here on this page of the Gemara. What's going on over here, friends? But if one who is impure partakes of that which is not permitted to those who are pure. Now, if one who is, let's say, ritually impure partakes of the sacrificial meat before its blood is sprinkled, he is not going to be liable for eating it due to violation of the prohibition against partaking of sacrificial meat while ritually impure. This is because in the case of any item that has permitting factors, one is not liable for the prohibitions of pigul, notar, or impurity until the permitting factors were sacrificed properly. And we have to once again see the Rambam in the Sefer Avodah within regards to that. So we saw some very cute notes over here within regards to different parts of the Gemara in today's page, which all different scenarios here in Amud Aleph and Amud Bet, and yeah, very, very interesting. Different commentaries over here, and yeah, I recommend everyone to watch over the previous videos we've done, the previous in let's just say in installments that we're doing it every single day, and yeah, we're a community over here, and we do a lot of great content here on this channel. So please don't forget to join, subscribe, and enjoy, and have a fantastic day, everyone. Take care.